Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS Vita review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Tearaway, which we've never played it before. It's a platformer by the same people who do Little Big Planet, I believe. I don't know if it's the exact same team. I know it's the same dev, Media Molecule. At the start, you've got a few things. You can view the photos you've taken in game. You can do settings, so you can choose your skin tone. You can choose your finger size. You can have a male or female player. And then you can just play the game, which I'm early on in the game because while it doesn't particularly have a story that's amazing or anything, it's one of those games that most of the fun and enjoyment is seeing the things yourself, so I would never want to ruin anything. And it's again why pretty much the majority of my vids are at the very start of files, and start of games, so that way I didn't have to ruin anything or possibly do anything that's going to upset people. That's why I'm also going to have to very carefully not show my ugly mug, because the game likes to put you as part of the game, because that's the whole point of the story. You're the character trying to break out to get to you, the person, and it uses the camera on the back and the camera on the front, just constantly show different parts of you and different parts of your world, and it makes it try and blend into it. But because of the quality of the cameras on the Vitas are so poor, and the graphics and the art style and that of this game is so good, it actually takes away more than it adds anything, But it's one of those. It's nothing major to complain about. Gameplay wise, it is your standard platform, I suppose, but it's something that definitely could only be done on the Vita, because it pretty much uses everything unique about the Vita. The rear touchpad doesn't particularly work well on it, though, if I'm honest. I've never been a fan of the touchpad, and I never will be, because it just doesn't work very well. And there is a moment, a very early moment, it's on the first level, actually, near the end, where there's sections like this which work okay, and you might think, how is he doing that? Because there isn't a jump on the game until you get to a certain point. Jump is actually an ability you have to learn. So the only way to really jump is to go on them, which are like drum boards or something, and by me tapping on the back, it causes them to fire me up and over. But there's also the rear touchpad interface where, you might have already caught it, the fact that I said you can choose your skin tone and your hand size, and that may be very odd for a video game at the end of the day, and it's because on this you push your fingers into the world, but obviously it's your fake virtual fingers. So the whole point is the world becomes more human, and like your character becomes more like getting out as it goes on, and things like that happen, and your finger is, for a lot of the time, the main attack, really, because there's characters and enemies and that appear, and the only way to kill them is by luring them onto a pad where your finger can burst through, and you can basically knock them aside and get rid of them. And those sections work okay until you get to the part that they don't. And this is what I mean with the section early on in the first level. There's a log, and you have to stand on the log, and there's no walls or anything because it is circular, it's cylindrical. So you've got to stand on the log whilst pushing your finger into the screen, so that then it becomes up, and then you roll the log over slowly, and then you walk off the log, and you get a present, which you've seen as open one, that's scattered all over, and that's how you get one of the things on it. Except for me, I'd push, and my finger mightn't appear, so I'd move it around, and then it would eventually appear, and then I'd slowly slide it over like I'm doing now, and the finger in the screen would instead go zoom like that and knock me flying and it's just that happens too often for my liking. There's then parts where you've actually got it's when you're taking pictures of the enemies, and I'm taking pictures now, that's why I've just said that, I've just realised. It's not taking pictures of the enemies, and I've just now connected to the internet. Concentrate on what you're doing, Demon, for crying out loud. Right, no, don't want to do any of that, just get me back to the game. There, thank you. Right, there, took the picture. Anyway, you can take a picture of a load of things, and you can also draw things and create them and that, and there'll be characters who ask for a crown, so you have to design a crown. That's I tried to basically explain 4 different things all at the same time, so let's work one at a time. That's the taking picture mechanic. I've mentioned the drawing on the screen mechanic and that, but the enemies is what I was trying to talk about before I failed miserably and got jumbled and then hit this, that and the other, and just ruined things altogether. When you shove your finger through and the enemies are there, and the pad you're on is, it's taken up the majority of the screen, really. You know, it's like pretty much everywhere that you can see on the screen, there's enemies. And your finger should therefore be able to go everywhere on that screen by touching the back pad. But no matter what I did, I mean, there's the edge of the back pad, there's the other edge of the back pad. No matter how close to the edge I held my fingers, or fingers, or like fingers, whatever the hell I was holding with, obviously. No matter what I did, there were creatures on the very, very edge of the screen that I just couldn't actually hit. And instead, it meant that I was standing there for ages just waiting for the enemy to come out of the corner just so that I could then hit him to kill him to move on. And again, parts like that happen far too often. It's the sort of thing like you would have liked to have thought they would have caught it in beta testing or something, but they obviously haven't, and I now don't know if it's possible for them to just do an update to fix it, because they'd have to actually completely redesign the size of the touchpad in the virtual world to make it so that your finger can now definitely touch all of it. And it is a bit of a shame that things like that do come into play and do kind of ruin the game for you. And it's not ruin it to the point that it's unplayable, but it's to the point that it becomes annoying that you think, well, I really, really wish this wasn't happening right now and I could just play the game. And it does happen enough times to make you think, I can see why this was a cheap game. Because honestly, if they'd released this at £30, there's no way I would have been happy buying it. I really wouldn't have. There's so many little problems here and there that while it is still a really good game, I do not understand at all how so many people keep rating it as one of the best that the Vita's ever done and saying that it is the reason to own the Vita. And I just personally don't think it is, because there's just too much about it that grates on me. That makes you think that this feels like it was a launch game. These are things that were supposed to be ironed out by now, and instead they're still persisting, and it worries the hell out of me that these are going to persist throughout the lifetime of the Vita, and that no one's going to be able to make full use of the rear touchpad in a way that's never going to be buggy. The closest I've came, if you've seen any of my PS4 vids, is as the virtual buttons on the PS4, a lot of the time they actually work okay. I've so far experienced better use on the rear touchpad just by playing PS4 games than I've ever experienced by playing Vita games, and that just seems a little sad when you think about it, because I'm playing them on the system that they're supposed to be good with, not just simply as, well, it's virtual buttons for another system, you know? But it's one of those. Everyone's got a different opinion, and not everyone hates the touchpad, and I'm fully aware of that. And it's one of those, if you are that sort of gamer, if you're the gamer that likes it, then you're going to find a lot of fun with this and a lot to agree with. If you are the type of gamer like myself who absolutely hates the rear touchpad, then you're still going to find some fun with it and enjoy it, because it's not an absolutely atrocious game by any means. It's actually done well, and it works well when it works, and it plays well enough, and I like the whole concept behind it, and the gameplay where you're actually playing and controlling the character and jumping as the character and attacking as the character rather than using you to attack and to jump, and that works exceptionally well. And it's the sort of thing that I'd love to see them therefore do just a regular platformer that doesn't really have any of that sort of stuff. So maybe in Tearaway 2, although I'd be amazed if they did, because then people will probably complain, well, why doesn't it have touchpad? I like that. So again, it's not everyone's opinion's different, and you'll never be able to please everyone. It's something that people have to experience many a time in life, that it'll never be perfect for everyone. But for what you're getting, for £20, you're getting a decent length game. Some people are saying it's too short for them, but again, it's a cheaper game. If it was £30, I totally agree. But the length of what it is, I mean, the amount of levels you get in that, it works well and it plays well enough. It's something that, if you've got a Vita and you're desperate for a new game, then it's definitely worth looking at, because it's not as if much comes out for the Vita, you know. But if you are a lot more picky with your games, then maybe let it drop even more. Maybe buy it for a tenner or something, and maybe then you'll find a lot more fun with it, and you'll be more forgiving for the problems that it does have.
So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.